official launch of 3 of our Anguilla United Front candidates in the upcoming general elections. I would like to start by asking Mr. Seabrooks to start us off with the opening prayer.
Praise the Lord. Father and God, we thank you again for another glorious opportunity whereby as we gather for this conference for the United Front Party. We pray that the Holy Spirit will take full control. Grant the ministers, future ministers, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in everything they do, say. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to ask us to have a few moments of silence for the passing of Mrs. Cerise Banks, the wife of our former Premier and party leader, Honorable Victor Banks, and also for all those persons who would have lost family, friends, and loved ones in recent times. And that moment starts now. Thank you. Good afternoon again to one and all, and we are here today to officially present to you our Anguilla United Front candidates for the upcoming general elections for the Road North constituency, the Road South constituency, and island-wide candidate. As many of you would know, the Anguilla United Front has a long and rich history of our elected representatives showing care and concern for our people, working hard for the people of Anguilla, and making decisions intended to enhance the lives of all Anguillians and residents of Anguilla. It is on these pillars on which we stand today. We are now charged with the responsibility of presenting our slate of candidates, which will continue the legacy, all of whom will continue the legacy of care, concern, ability, experience, knowledge, and vision of the Anguilla United Front as we move towards the 2025 general elections. I will formally introduce each candidate and invite them to tell you about who they are and why they have put themselves forward as candidates for the Anguilla United Front. Then I will invite the elected members of the Anguilla United Front to say a few words of welcome and then open the floor to the press for questions. And we will start with the introduction of our Anguilla United Front candidate for Road North, Mr. Devon Carty. Mr. Carty is a son of the soil. He is many things, including an artist, an entrepreneur, a social worker, a community-focused individual, a family man. He is a son of the soil. Mr. Carty thinks outside of the box and is willing to push the envelope and challenge the status quo, all for the ultimate benefit of our people. The common thread through everything that I have said is that Mr. Carty prioritizes one people, one country. And may I present to you Mr. Devon Carty to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam Leader. Much people don't see me like this, but I'm not accepting any accolades for this dress. This is my whole team and some friends from outside who said you must dress properly. I told them no problem. 15 minutes after, I'm back to me. So, just to make it clear, I know most of you have never seen me like this. It's a suit, and I borrowed it. It goes back to the owner as soon as I'm finished in this event. And for this event, I've been asked to speak about myself, which is always difficult. I'm a person who works at not having an ego. And for all that I've done, very few people know what it is I do. It is always a question. It is only those who are close to me who have an idea of who I am, what I do, and what I am capable of. So you will see the pictures. I took them, but I'm not the subject. You will hear the songs being sung. I wrote them, but I'm not the singer. Many of my ideas are implemented, but I don't have to be the star that claims it. Many of my causes are charitable. I don't boast about it. That said, ladies and gentlemen, those present, those listening nationally, and those in the wider diaspora, Anguillians abroad, my name is Devon Carty, and I present myself to you tonight as the candidate for District 5. Before I get into who I am and what I am about, I'd like to point out the enormity of this moment. Here we have a party for the people, of the people, one that is representative of every single political persuasion in modern Anguillan history. We have ANA, AUM, ADP, and yes, even APM in this grouping. We come together under one beacon, a beacon of hope, a beacon of positive transformation, a beacon of providing the guiding light for a party of people who have a history of putting people first. A party grounded in history, a party founded by Anguillians with integrity and vision, a party that has consistently shown the way, love and respect to all those persons who came before us and set us on this path. I am extremely proud to stand with this generation, my generation. And now about me. I'd like you to remember, because you already know who Devon Carty is. I am a philanthropist, a social worker, a music industry coach and executive, a businessman and an entrepreneur. Above all else, I am a man dedicated to finding a way forward for my island. I am dedicated to ensuring that my people can remain proud and free, that my people can remain unequivocally Anguillan. I am dedicated to ensuring that we as Anguillians can be comfortable in our now and successful in our future. I want families to be able to feed and raise their babies. I want parents to be comfortable and confident knowing that this nation is a safe place to raise their children. I am particularly passionate about wanting the backbone of our economy, small businesses, local businesses, entrepreneurs, investors, local and foreign, to do what they do best: create, invest, innovate, expand, and build our economy into the strongest in the region. This is neither a paltry dream nor an ethereal vision. We did this before. Our forebears did. This is our heritage. This is a reality we have known and one that we have to reclaim. This is an ambition that will be realized through caring, through caressing success out of this rock, and through working together. Yes, working together. Which is where I started this presentation. The Anguilla United Front, a party of every single political persuasion coming together to create the Anguilla we all dream of. An Anguilla our forebears dreamed of and worked for and achieved. An Anguilla that our mothers and grandmothers poured their love and life lessons into. These words do not represent a vision. They're representative of our history, our accomplishments, and with this united front, our future. We have done this before, and we shall do so again. We must free the people and let them go about the business of using their creativity and innovation to contribute to the growth of this nation. People of Anguilla, my candidacy is a natural step in the mission of my life's work. This is the direction I must go in order to do even more in my natural inclination to prioritize my people. I must carry on the work of my forebears. I must contribute to moving Anguilla ever forward and ever onwards. District 5, I urge you to vote for Devon Carty. Anguilla, I urge you to vote for the Anguilla United Front candidates. When elections is called, come out and come out strongly and support all of the AUF candidates. Anguilla, I encourage you to support AUF island-wide candidates. Support the party that puts people first, the party that prioritizes Anguilla and Anguillians. Let the beacon light the way to a better Anguilla for all. Thank you.
Mr. Devon Carty, ladies and gentlemen, and Devon is absolutely correct. The Anguilla United Front is a party of open arms. We embrace all persons who identify with the principles, the integrity, the quality, and everything else that we need in order to move Anguilla forward. And so, Devon, thank you very much for that presentation. We will move on to the Road South constituency. Our candidate for the Anguilla United Front, Mr. Patrick Mboro. Mr. Mboro has very deep roots in Anguilla. After secondary school, he will have worked with the Anguilla Customs Department, moving up the ranks and attaining qualifications during that time. He eventually established his own custom broker business. He has served on boards such as the Anguilla Air and Seaport Authority and ANGLEC. He is a lover of sports and was a critical part of the South Hill Windball cricket team and basketball team. He is a staple in the South Hill Blowing Point community and is always ready and willing to lend a helping hand. Mr. Mboro is people-focused. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Patrick Mboro.
Good afternoon to everyone, those listening via the live stream, those in attendance. I'd like to acknowledge my good old friend from Mistress Bradley from District 5. Well, she don't live in District 5, but she was one of the persons who I always go back and forth when I was on the other side. But Mistress Bradley, I would like to tell you, I'm home now. Okay? So for those who don't know me, I am a very vocal person, and I'm passionate about whatever I speak on. If I don't know something, I won't speak on it. So if there are areas that I would be strong at, and I acknowledge there's areas I'll have to learn. But I took this step to enter the arena because District 6 have been lacking people-loving politicians. In my district, with the politicians that is there now, and they don't have any love and respect for people. I grew up with a grandmother who always teach me to respect everyone. Don't matter where you come from. Don't matter how big or how small. Respect is something she instilled in us. But I'll tell you a little about myself, a little bit. The leader of the party told you quite a few things. I start from a humble beginning, very humble. My grandmother used to sell craft at the Anguilla Craft Center, and we was going through some challenges. And I was the person saying, okay, Mom, I will step out of school and go work so we can make ends meet. She tell me, even if I have to tie my belly, you stay in school, make sure you learn how to read and write. And I will tie my belly and you will make it. And today, I'm a product of a grandmother who just told me, stay on the right path, learn to read and write. I'm not easily persuaded or influenced by outside forces. So I started as a painter, very nice gentleman, putting paint on the wall. Then I look at customs and I say, let me take this challenge on. So I applied to the customs department. I was accepted. And one of my strong points at customs was that I take care of people. And that's all I know, to take care of our customers. And from there, I keep striving and going up the line. I spent 7 years at customs. And then in 2001, I said it's time for me to move on. I became an entrepreneur, and I started my own business in custom brokerage. And we also did delivery and ship agency. And from then until now, I'm still in that business. And I was selected to be part of the ASPA board. First board I ever worked on. Was a new experience. So I want to try new things. I entered ASPA, and I always tell my chairman, we're not going to be on a board and not do anything. I'm a person who like action, not talk, action. So that was my first board. And then I was selected again, but by my friendly people at APM. Mr. Hughes asked me to sit on the board. And I can tell you this today. That's the reason why one of the reasons why I'm here. Because what you see is not what you get. There are two-faced people in this place. I guess he wanted me to toe the line and be the puppet. Puppet master, you send me out, and I do everything you say. But I'm a person who have a mind of my own, and I know right from wrong. So I made a couple of strong moves with government, and I will tell you this. What they didn't do, they did everything to destroy my character just because I did not toe the lines. Because when I entered, as the chairman of ANGLEC was on the verge of bankruptcy. And I spoke to the government, and I said, guys, we can fix this. You have outstanding, let's go. You can work on it, you pay something, get the company going. But instead, they push back and push back. And I'm a person that I don't just stop at one point. I go to the extreme. And at no point in time, the government was accepting what the board was doing. And I didn't stop. I didn't say, okay, I supported the government of Anguilla. Let me just toe the line and leave the company, go bankrupt. I stayed there, and me and the board channeled the company to a point where the company can sustain itself. It is not an easy task to go against the master, that I'll call it. But I did that. I stand for only the right way. I would not cut in the corners. If you see me sit here and say I love something, I love something. So, because of that, I was thrown to the wolves. They dig up even my grandmother. They called me all kind of names. Loudmouth. They told me that the front have me going against the government. But I did not make a move for me. I made a move for the company. Because when you go to corporate governance, it says transparency. They use transparency and they use accountability very often, this government. But there's no transparency and no accountability. They want what they want. So then the battle started. I never changed my course of action. And today, the company is on a better footing. We wanted to go to renewables to give Anguilla people relief. They didn't want that either. So I said, no, this cannot be correct. If we want to help people, we will try to bring down the cost of fuel, the fuel surcharge. The government will play their role, we'll play our role, Anguillians will have relief. None of that happened. And instead, they came directly to remove the board because they couldn't have their way with the company. I also was a person that campaigned with the APM about GST and the dangers of the tax and how it will hurt people. I was on all of the GST select committees here in the House of Assembly with the chairperson, David Carty. In every cross-section of Anguilla was given their side or their alternative to GST. And what my government did, I will say it's my government, because it's my government. My government did not even take one recommendation from the committee stage and move it forward. So I say, no, it's time for me to make a move. Because if I'm going to care about people, and especially people in my area, and businesses that is hurting because of a tax, then now is the time for me to put myself up, to represent people, to care for people. So I am a kind of person that don't ever stop working for the people. I was part of a basketball team. I was part of the cricket team. I was also a part of a group that we call SHP, where people thought it was a violent group, but we just was young fellows having fun. I was one of the first persons walking out of my group. And I told you, if I tell you this, you'll laugh. I worked customs for all those years. And when I finished working at customs, I had $400 EC. Because every month when I get paid, I call the boys up. I say, guys, we're going out. And I will spend every dime on my friends and family. It wasn't about me. It was about them, making people happy. But today, I had to make this move because I hang out by shops. I talk to people. And when I see people go into the shop for 10 items and come up with 7, leave 3 behind, it tells me something is definitely wrong in Anglo. Since the implementation of GST, the cost of living raised so high that people barely can afford to sustain themselves, right? So I know how it is to be low, and I know how it is to be high. But one thing I never stop doing is caring for people. So let me give you a little history now, okay, about me and AUF. If you look at the table here, I have some very good friends. And I would like to say a special good evening to Mr. McNeil Rogers. He was my maths teacher at Road School. And I can tell him today, and I know he's listening, you turned out a very good student as it relates to maths. I was part of the APM organization, AUM, but I never disrespected Mr. Banks, Mr. Cardigan Connor. We always share that rivalry. We will have numerous occasions, never disrespectful. But today, the type of politics that you've seen is so destructive. Because once you don't agree with them, they try to crush you. And I am not a lover of people trying to assassinate people's character because you don't share the same opinion as them. But going down in my district, I'm no stranger. I'm always on the ground. I always move around. I'm not afraid to sit at the bars. I'm not afraid to sit on the side of the road. I'm not afraid to sit with the youths. I'm always there. I'm not like some people who drive through in all the stages, your glasses up in your black Jeep, and pass through. And don't say a word, don't stop. How you doing? How things is going? But today, I can tell you, they're out again. The glasses is down, no more AC. The glasses is out. The glasses is down, and they're stopping, and they're having drinks by the bars now. Elections is coming. But I would like to tell you, don't be fooled twice. Once. Only once. Don't make the same mistake twice. So District 6 and Anguilla. If you look at this team here, it's a combination of all different sectors. People of all different skill sets. And I like maths. So you know, the leader know that every figure I'll be looking at. Because when it comes to GST, we're going to put the fight in. The British will see us coming. And we'll find every alternative to get rid of GST. We will never back down and say that's the honest alternative we had. Because the APM did the work. From your own Anguillians. They sat at the House of Assembly and gave all the alternative to that tax. That's a destructive tax. So, Anguilla, relief is coming. A good government is coming. A caring government is coming. Remember, I said that. I stick by what I say. And I would like to thank all the members who welcomed me on board the AUF team. And I'm home. Mrs. Bradley, I'm home. Thank you.
A very moving presentation by Mr. Mboro as he expresses to us the trials and tribulations he has had to go through in fighting for what he believes is right. And he made some very interesting statements. And the statements that he made surrounded love and respect and taking care of people. And that is what the Anguilla United Front is about. Thank you, Mr. Mboro. I would now like to present to you our single island-wide candidate, Mr. Miguel Leverett. Mr. Miguel Leverett is a son of the soil. He grew up between Long Bay, South Hill, and Blowing Point. As a sportsman, he played for the Roots basketball team from South Hill, and he was a competitive cyclist. He was also the manager for the Anguilla cycling team for the Commonwealth Games in India in 2010 and in Scotland in 2014. He is the general manager of a premier tourism property, Blanchard's Restaurant. He is passionate about workers' rights and the growth and development of our people in the tourism industry. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Mr. Miguel Leverett.
Thank you, Madam Leader. Good afternoon, everyone. Listening audience, members of the press, colleagues, family, and supporters, it is an honor to be addressing you this afternoon. I am Miguel Leverett, born and raised right here in Anguilla, a proud son of the soil. I'm a dedicated father, husband, hospitality professional, and entrepreneur. Most of you may know me as the general manager of Blanchard's. I also served as the president of the Anguilla Cycling Association and vice president of the Blowing Point Community Foundation. During Hurricane Irma, many of you may recall that there was a great need for assistance. At Blanchard's, we understood and responded. As such, I was at the forefront in the donation of those generators, food baskets, and food vouchers through Blanchard's Anguilla Children's Fund. This initiative was a success after the devastation of Hurricane Irma and again during the pandemic of 2020. I decided to enter the world of politics because of the plight of the people of Anguilla. I can no longer stand on the side and watch so many people of Anguilla suffer from lack of dependable running water, pothole roads, ballooning crime rates, and even higher ballooning costs of living affected by the implementation of GST. Over the last several months, I spoke with many Anguillians who I believe are listening now. Time and again, person after person, I heard you say that you will not be going to the polls in the next election because you feel betrayed by politicians. I say to each of you, failing to vote in the upcoming election is like giving up hope for a better Anguilla. I want you to know that in me, you have someone that you can believe in and that you can trust. To borrow from the words of the late Honorable Eric Reed, my nay will be nay and my yea will be yea. I will put the people of Anguilla first, and I will fight with you, and for the country Anguilla. The AUF is the only party I see that can lead Angola forward. Our candidates have the ability, the skill set, and years of experience in leadership positions. My colleagues and I surround ourselves with people who share the same ideals, who, along with the people of Angola, will make a great governing alliance to take this country forward. Today, I offer myself as an island-wide candidate for the Angola United Front in the 2025 elections. I know what it feels like to serve. I work in the same industry as many of you do. I also know what it feels like to suffer, especially as a hospitality worker who was out of work in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma and during the COVID-19 pandemic. I commit to using my passion for my community and my wealth of knowledge, compassion, and dedication to seek resolutions so that the livelihood of hospitality workers and all hardworking Anguillians and belongers can have the chance to improve. They say who feels it knows it. Every Anguillian deserves to live life with a sense of security. After working for 30 or 40 years in a hotel or in the private sector, many workers go home with their last paycheck in hand, and that's it. My hope is to have a pension plan put in place for all hospitality and private sector workers. The children of Angola deserve to grow up in a safe environment and realize their dreams to reach their full potential. Our forefathers and revolutionaries deserve the satisfaction of knowing their prayers and efforts were not in vain. I imagine an Angola with opportunities for all, where we can all play a role in the growth of this country. In the coming months, the party will be laying out the plans to present a People's First agenda to take Angola forward for the next 5 years. Follow us on social media and other platforms, and join us on this journey to 2025 and beyond. Together, we can create a new reality. Onward, united, we can change the plight of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miguel Leverett. And you will have noticed that Mr. Leverett would have used the words of the former member for Valley North elected representative, the Honorable Mr. Eric Reed. And we would have laid Mr. Reed to rest some months ago. But it was very stirring that at the funeral, what was said about Mr. Reed was that he was a principled politician. And when Mr. Leverett says that his yea will be yea and his nay will be nay, quoting the words of Mr. Reed, it tells you that that principled position of the Anguilla United Front continues on. Thank you, Mr. Leverett. At this point in time, I would like to invite the Deputy Chair, Honorable Mr. Carty Connor, to welcome our candidates.
Thank you, Madam Leader, and good evening, everyone, or late afternoon. For me, I'm a big team player, and at this head table, we've got 3 new members. There are 3 first-round draft picks. I think Patrick Mahomes will be quite pleased with all of them. The fact is, I know them all personally. Miguel, I've known, having been associated with him in my area, in District 7. The work that he would have done at the West End Primary School, the Alvin Allison Primary School, to help with the computers. So Miguel, and the painting of the classrooms. So Miguel has done a lot of work within the community. He mentioned about after Hurricane Irma and COVID-19, that was very stressful. The fact is, the name Blanchards will be given the credit. But the fact is, the Blanchards themselves were not here. That's not to say they weren't very much instrumental in making it happen. But being on the ground with persons who were desperate at the time, and for Miguel to have to marshal that and to keep the spirits of his staff up, I must give him a lot of credit for that. And we also worked together at the Commonwealth Games, both in Delhi and also in Glasgow. So Miguel I know personally, and he's someone that I hold in very high regard. Pat Martinborough, again, is someone, as he said, we can agree to disagree, but we always were very respectful. What I love about Pat is that he believes in what he says, and he is very principled. When many others, as you'd see in government right now, could walk away for 48 hours but then have to run back, Pat has decided to run totally the other direction, but running to the right direction. So Pat, it's great to have you on board. And last but not least, Devon Carty. I've known Devon for many years. And what I love about him is that he himself he's got his own personality. You know, he will debate us, he will challenge us, and that's what I expect from all of our candidates. But what I'll tell them, there's a challenge. If anybody follow the House of Assembly today, we got a firecracker here and a leader, I'll tell you that. But again, getting back to Miguel and the guys, for me, I'm only too but pleased to see that we've got an addition, 3 additions and 3 more to come, that I'm very proud to call my teammates. Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you, Carty. I'll now invite Honorable Jose Vanterpool, Single Island Wide elected representative.
Thank you, Madam Leader. Good afternoon to all. So the last time that we would have sat here in this setting, in such a forum, I would have shared with you, present and virtual, the people of Anguilla in general, that I was excited, and that I was quite excited for what was to come. And to the people of District 5, to the people of District 6, and to all the people of Anguilla through your new island-wide candidate, I can imagine you are all too joining me in this excitement. I want to say a big congratulations to the 3 individuals sitting to my right. It takes a lot to put up yourself as a candidate for elections, but to the people of Districts 5, 6, and the people of Anguilla in general, when you look at the 3 individuals to my left, each of them are intelligent, each of them are outspoken, each of them are caring, and each of them are hardworking. So when you go to the polls next time, you won't be short of choices. In fact, I think the choice may be obvious. Now, being guided by the fact that the assembly sitting today was extensive and I hadn't gotten to eating, and reminded of the fact that last time we launched a candidate, I got a bit emotional and lost for words, I decided this time just to jot down a few of my thoughts to organize them. So, I would like to extend a warmest welcome to the 3 distinguished individuals joining the Anguilla United Front team. Your decision to align with our party speaks volumes about your commitment to our shared values and vision for Anguilla's future. Each of you brings with you a unique set of skills, experiences, and perspectives that will undoubtedly enrich our team and strengthen our ability to serve the people of Anguilla effectively. I am excited to collaborate with you all as we embark on this journey together, united in our dedication to advocating the interests of our constituents and promoting positive change across our entire beloved island. In welcoming you to the Anguilla United Front, I am reminded of the incredible potential that lies within our party to effect meaningful change and within the community. And at this point, I want to say a big congratulations to our party leader, the Honorable Cora Richardson Hodge. The people of Anguilla have asked, and we have continued to deliver. And under her leadership, we are seeing how this team is shaping up to not only be a strong one, but to be your next government and the future of politics in Anguilla. Your decision to join us signifies a belief in our principles and a willingness to work tirelessly in pursuit of our shared goals. As we expand our ranks, and here today you see 8, but we do intend to run a full slate, so keep tuned, we have more in store. We do so with a renewed sense of purpose and sense of determination. Together, we will harness the collective talents and energies of our team to address the pressing issues facing Anguilla and to create opportunities for growth, prosperity, and social cohesion. Your presence among us strengthens our resolve and emboldens our commitment to serving the best interests of all Anguillians. So, with that being said, I believe that my candidates can speak for themselves, and I do believe that the new candidates did an excellent job and will continue to do an excellent job in representing the people of District 5, the people of District 6, and the people of Anguilla. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jose. I'll now invite Honorable Kyle Hodge, Single Island-wide elected rep, to give a few words.
Good afternoon to everybody, to the media, protocol, having already been established, I adopt it. It's a pleasure to be here, sitting at this head table with these members, the members of the Anguilla United Front team. Each and every launch is getting more and more exciting. You know, I am very proud to be sitting at this head table with people of substance. The new candidates that we have added are candidates with a backbone, candidates who are creative, and candidates whom I have known for my entire life. And in fact, some of them would have raised me, helped to raise me, been a part of my life from time I know myself. And I can even start with Pat. That's what we call him, Pat. He would have been around me from time I was 15, 16. Much people would not have known this. But whenever me and my friend Dormel would be throwing a party, Pat would be providing the entertainment, the sound system. So our relationship, our friendship goes back to from time I was 15, 16 years old. So it's unbelievable. But fast forward to now. Pat is a genuine guy. He's a guy that stands up for people. He is a guy, like Miguel would have said, he would have quoted the Honorable Eric Reed, his yeas are yea and his nays are nay. Pat is also that kind of guy. He knows how to take the right stance. And it is evident by his position that he took when he was selected to be the chair of the Anglic board. And he served on Anglic board amongst giants. Here's a humble guy, a grassroots guy, coming from running a small business and being selected to one of the most important boards in this country, being given the confidence as chairman. That's not a light role to play. And Pat, like he said, being the guy that knows figures and understands corporate governance and understands the importance of Anglic, would have studied the Electricity Act as a new chairman and was able to detect that Anglic was wrongly paying duties on the diesel that was being imported into this country. They were wrongly paying it. And when the PS of Finance would have been told this by Pat, she asked, well, how you figure this out? This is a guy that just come from running a small business, figuring out a blunder in the system that was going unnoticed for a lot of years. So I am proud to be affiliated with this team and proud to know that we have someone like Pat on board in District 6. I could go on this guy, but I'll move on. Miguel's mom and my grandmother are sisters. So we have very close family ties. And I've known Miguel as a principled guy. Somebody that don't make a lot of noise, but when he speaks, you gotta listen. He's an activist. Much people might not know that. He's an activist. Calling into radio programs, not even saying who he is, but calling in to defend people, to defend what he thinks is right. Not looking any praise or any fame. A man that when disaster strikes, and it was evident in the past with Irma and with COVID, he knows how to pull the right strings to get people into action and to bring relief to everybody. A real activist. A man who is looking for better rights for hotel workers, for private workers. These are the people that we have surrounded ourselves with as an AUF party. And like the Honorable Jose said, there's more to come. And I look forward to the other 3 candidates that's going to be launched down the road. And lastly, to say a few words about Mr. Devon Carty, a philanthropist, a man that has been given people, young people especially, international experience, international exposure, long before he was interested in politics. Somebody who works with culture. You know, not every youth will be academically inclined, but if they can play an instrument, if they can sing, if they have a talent, that talent should be exposed. And Devon Carty is someone that has been doing this for decades. He would have said recently, his support for boat race, a national sport in Angola, didn't just come because he's entering into politics. He has been supporting boat race for years. He has been supporting communities for years. He has been supporting the youth of this country for years. And I endorse him for District 5. I endorse Miguel Leverett as an island-wide candidate, and I endorse Patrick Mboro for District 6. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kyle Hodge. We'll now invite Honorable Shelia Rogers Webster, elected representative for Valley North.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here this afternoon to support the members of my team, particularly the new team members who are launching today. Getting involved in politics in Anguilla is no easy feat. It takes a lot of grit, it takes courage, it takes strength, it takes investment in yourself and in your team. And I wish to commend Mr. Mboro, Mr. Leverett, and Mr. Carty on taking this important step. I would like to take this opportunity to officially welcome them publicly to the Anguilla United Front team. I wish to thank them for their willingness to walk with us and to run with us. I wish to thank them for supporting our vision. I wish to thank them for understanding our position on certain matters, but being willing to walk with us to build and create an Anguilla that is for our people. An Anguilla where our people can really see the fruits of our labor, where we can own our own homes, where we can retain our own homes, where we can send our children to school and have our children comfortably come back and take up positions of power and employment in this country. An Anguilla that is for all of us, not just a selected few. I'll start with Miguel. Miguel and I worked very well together in the hospitality industry when I was at the Anguilla Tourist Board. And one of the things that you could always rely on Miguel for was whether it's support for your initiatives or whether it was just to be able to give commendation for an activity or an event or something that's taking place. I remember during the periods of Hurricane Irma, when some of us were at our lowest and our communities needed support the most, Miguel and the Blanchard's team were there and there for us in a big way. I remember going down to West End and collecting bags of, and this is before I got into politics, collecting bags of groceries for members of the Valley North constituency, people who to this day are so grateful for those contributions. And I would always say to them, this is as a direct result of the support of people like Miguel Leverett and the Blanchard's team, and that's important. Those are things you don't forget, because in people's weakest moments, those are the things that you remember when people stood in the gap for you. And those resources could have been held and housed for specific people in specific areas. But that's not what happened. Anybody that put up their hand and said we needed some support or we needed some assistance, they were there for us. I remember again, when after the hurricane, the Anguilla Tourist Board didn't have a generator to operate. one of the most important organizations in Anguilla at the time, didn't have a generator. And who did we reach out to again? The Blanchard's team. And they were able to provide support, temporary support for us to have a generator to be able to operate. And those are things, Miguel, that I won't forget. Those are personal calls and personal direct linkages that were created. You saw our need in that moment and you stood in the gap, and we will never forget those things. As I move on to Mr. Mboro, I want to congratulate him for finally being on the side with Patria and I. And I never thought this would happen, but I'm happy to see you, and I'm happy to have you here. And one of the things I will always say about Mr. Mboro is that, and I call him, this is what I call him all the time, I don't call him Pat. We would always joke and laugh and establish that we were on separate sides, but we also were very respectful to each other. We always dialogued. We always shared ideas. He would share openly his thoughts on certain things, and I would give my position on the same. But no matter what happened in politics, there was always a level of respect that I could appreciate. And that's why the transition hasn't been difficult. Because in spite of being on different sides of the political aisle in the past, there's always been mutual respect. And that's something that's critical and important. And Mr. Mboro, I'd just like to say publicly, I appreciate a lot of the dialogue that would have happened. And I'd also like to say publicly that my stance on a number of things in ANGLEC drastically changed after you became a member of the board. There were things that you would have illuminated on radio that I had no idea about. There were considerations that I had to start making that I didn't think about. And in those moments, and you coming on radio and being open about the financial challenges of the organization, some of the human resource challenges of the organization, those were things that were needed at the time. And I want to commend you for taking that leap of faith and being able to openly and actively, speak out on things that you knew deep down were not right, things that were not fair to the people, things that were not fair to the shareholders of ANGLEC, and we will forever be indebted to you for that. And I wish you every success as you contest the seat in District 6. I can tell you it won't be easy. As someone who's come under fire from the current representative in District 6, I know firsthand the type of person you're dealing with. So I wish you every success. I don't envy you at all operating down in District 6. But I know you can definitely handle it. You definitely got it. Mr. Carty, I also would like to congratulate you on taking this leap of faith. We would have worked together at the Department of Youth and Culture on a number of different projects. We would have also served together on the Anguilla Summer Festival Committee for a number of years. And we always had mutual respect for each other, and that will continue to happen. I look forward to working with you to develop different areas of the creative industries that can help us to continue to diversify within and outside of tourism. I look forward to us being able to harness some of the creative industries to be able to give our people opportunities to be able to operate from a social perspective, but also from an economic perspective. So I look forward to working with you very closely in these areas. And I just want to say generally to thank the Anguillan public for all of the support and the encouragement that they continue to give us, but also that they will continue to give to the candidates that we are launching. I'd like to speak to the persons who've traditionally supported this party first. We are here. We are giving you a slate of well-rounded individuals who are fit for purpose and who are ready to take government back in 2025. I'm asking you to give us an opportunity to serve, but not just give us individually an opportunity. I'm asking that you vote the slate. I'm asking that you vote for your district representative, but also vote for each island-wide candidate that we present to you. It is going to be very, very important this election that we all stick together and we vote the entire slate. I'd also like to say to the new persons who may not have traditionally supported the Anguilla United Front, but are looking for hope, looking for a new option because they are unsatisfied with the current administration, I ask that you engage us. I ask that you reach out to us, have conversations. When we reach out to you, that you engage us, hear us out. If there are challenges or concerns that you have, please express them to us and give us an opportunity as well to respond to them. Give us an opportunity to serve. Thank you again for this opportunity and have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Shelia. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our 3 Anguilla United Front candidates for Road North, Road South, and Island-wide representative. And let me say that I want to also personally congratulate and thank each of those members, Mr. Devon Carty, Mr. Patrick Mboro, Mr. Miguel Leverett, for taking the opportunity to join the Anguilla United Front and to be able to move the country forward. They are not here by happen chance. These persons are not here because they woke up yesterday and decided that they are going to run. They're here because they've worked to be here at this table. And we know the quality of persons that we're presenting to the people of Anguilla. And as Shelley would have indicated, we want to ensure that the people understand that with the Anguilla United Front, there is unity, there is hope, there is a vision, and we have a slate of candidates that are capable and qualified to lead Anguilla into the future. And so at this point, I would like to open the floor to the press in terms of their welcome and acknowledgement and any questions that they might have to our candidates as we present them to the people of Anguilla.
James Oregon of the Anguilla newspaper. Let me say welcome to Mr. Carty, Mr. Mboro, and Mr. Leverett for joining the team of AUF. Mr. Mboro, you spoke very eloquently, and I took note of the fact that you mentioned that there's a possibility to get rid of the GST. Now, being under the UK government, under that umbrella, we know that we are dictated to, if I should use that word, to accept what they would prescribe for us. Are you willing, as part of the team, to go along with, instead of a total, if it's not possible, a reduction to GST? Is that in the pipeline? Is there a reduction in the pipeline instead of a total abolishing?
Thank you for the question. Well, I'll tell you this, and it's simple. From the inception with GST, I had always shared my views about this tax. From Mr. Banks, when it was interim goods tax and revenue neutral, I don't know if you remember that stage. I who rang the bell that it wasn't revenue neutral. And I was always looking at it, walking it out. And I told Mr. Banks, this tax is a very dangerous tax. Now I'll give you the perfect example of GST in full effect. During the Christmas season, I was out to buy a refrigerator. The cost of the refrigerator was $2,700 and about $5 to $6. $300 of that $2,700 is GST. Imagine a single mom, a mother, buying a fridge. $325 is groceries in that fridge. $325. But here's the government taking $325 from a single mom. So the children have no groceries in the fridge. So the tax have to be, if we can't get it repealed, it have to be adjusted. But right now, we are bearing the fruits of it. We can see it. We can see it in operation. Because government brags about having about over 200 million in GST money. But I'll give you a next example. You have 200 and plus in GST money. But here's people cannot get water. Water Corporation of Anguilla. The Minister of District 6 say it takes 50 million to fix water. But before he take that money and fix water, what he does? He want to do an airport. And an essential commodity like water cannot be obtained. I'll quote a past minister's statement. He said openly, Anguilla's new sport, the national sport, is cooping the pipe. You can imagine that in 2024, people have to coop to bathe, coop to wash, coop to collect water. But here's the GST money. But I'll tell you this. I'll tell you the next scenario with GST. I had never liked the tax. And I will say this openly. You can't tweak a bad tax. You understand what I'm saying? If a tax is bad, it's bad. It can be adjusted in terms of rate. If we can't get a full repeal, there's certain things we are trying right now. We have a team together to look at the economy, look at the effects of GST on the economy. And the people on those and the committees is local Anguillians. We tend to leave consultants come in who knows nothing about the economy of Anguilla and push something down our throat and say, hey, this is the best thing for you. When I was on the committee stage of GST, I told the consultant, when you send up the cost of living in Anguilla, you can go back to St. Vincent, because the first one's from St. Vincent, and live cheap. But I have to stay here and pay. A wholesome bread in the shop before GST was $15. It's $18. No. And that's just for a bread. That don't even have to go on the fridge. Okay? The next thing that I didn't like about GST, it is GST on electricity is a real burden because the cost of the electricity is already high. And to put 13% on electricity for shops who pays bills over $90,000, 13% of $90,000, you do the math and you'll understand the effects of GST and the cost to run business and to administrate GST. So I am not looking at, I won't be bold enough to say that we will put it on the back burner. GST for this team is top priority. Why? Because it's hurting the people of Anguilla. It is hurting mom and pop stores. So we have to look at it in totality. We can't just say that we will tweak it here. We have other means that you can use. We can also look at custom duty. Most of the countries that have GST do not have no duty structure. They don't have any import duty. In Anguilla, we have import duty, we have custom excise tax, and you have custom service fee. And then on the back side, you have 13% GST. So you have areas that you can tweak, and you can be guaranteed and reassured that this team will do whatever it takes to bring relief to Anguilla people and Anguilla businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Richardson Hodge, I took note this morning that you were quoted in your conversation with Billy D on Radio St. Martin. Seeing that you know that we are under the British umbrella, how do you relate to Mr. Martin Mboro's statements for repeal or for reduction?
Well, let me first say that what Pat has said is absolutely correct. From inception, while I was a minister of government and we had the discussions on the interim goods tax, Pat was at those consultations and he would have given his views at the time. He was also at the consultation where the discussion from the retail sector was not to put GST on the port, but put it on the point of sale if it was that GST was to have been implemented. So Pat has been entirely consistent from the inception in terms of his views, in terms of GST, and how it would impact the people of Anguilla. Today, we see that the form of GST that was implemented was not the form that we were looking at when we were in government, the Anguilla United Front administration. And so the very real impacts as to how GST is impacting the people can be seen. There is no doubt that it cannot remain in the form that it is. And I am proud to be part of a team with varying views. And what that is going to do is ensure that we look at the entire gamut of possibilities that are available to us. Can we repeal GST and replace with something else? Because you have to comply at the end of the day with certain guidelines that Anguilla has subscribed to. So we have to meet those guidelines. But it is not to say that GST is in a form that it could never be repealed or adjusted or amended in a way that suits the people of Anguilla. And so there is no discrepancy between what Pat has said and our position. When I spoke on Billy D, and thank you for raising it, Billy D would have asked a direct question, are we campaigning to say we're going to remove GST? And the answer was no. And the reason for that is because until you understand fully what you're going to meet in government, we cannot be in a position where we're making such a major presumption in terms of removing and then met with certain factors that we would not have been aware of at the time that we were campaigning. So we're not going to be an irresponsible party. We're going to be an entirely responsible party. But what Pat and others have already expressed are their views in terms of the impact on GST. The people of Anguilla have seen the impact of GST, and we know that it cannot remain in its existing form.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? All right. So if that is the case, thank you very much for coming out, ladies and gentlemen. To those of you who have joined us on the live and on social media, thank you once again, and welcome to our members. There is work to do. We have a lot of work to do, not just as a team, but as a people and as a country. And so we look forward to working with you over the days and months to come. Thank you very much and have a good evening.